welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Stacy, and if you're new here, welcome. So happy to have you here as a part of the family. If you haven't subscribed as yet, please hit that subscribe button. You're in for a wonderful treat. We talk everything Jesus over here, and of course faith-based content. Before I start or get into today's video, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who has been showing me love and support on my last couple of videos. I love you so much. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Now let's get into today's video. So from the title of today's video, you know of course that we'll be talking about pruning and 3 ways or signs in which you can look out for to know if you are in a pruning season and God is pruning you for better, for growth, sis. Yes, it's for growth. It's hard, but it's for growth. Now let's start by defining what pruning is. Now, pruning is to cut away dead or overgrown branches or stems, especially to encourage growth. Now, that is from an agricultural perspective. But similarly, in the spiritual perspective, and as Christians, we have to go through seasons of pruning in which God has to cut away and get rid of the things that no longer serves us in order to prepare us for better and in order to take us where He wants us to go. So according to John 15:12, it states that I am the true grapevine and the Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and He prunes the branches that do bear fruit so that they will produce even more fruit. Now from that, you will definitely know that pruning is a necessary process in our walk of faith. It is very necessary. The word pruning it may seem harsh, it may seem like a rough word, it may seem like you have to cut off and get rid of, but let's jump into the signs in which you may know or look out for to know that you are in a pruning season. Sign number 1 on my list is going to be separation or disassociation. Now when we think about separation, disassociation, you may be going through a season where all of a sudden you're having breakups, your friendship, persons are leaving out of your life. You may be wondering what's going on. You're losing friendship, losing platonic relationships and romantic relationships, and you may be wondering what's going on. This may be a clear sign that God is pruning you and God is digging up and God is taking away the things and cutting off the things that are no longer bearing fruit in your life. And you may notice some persons, they do come into your life, they're only there for a season. If a person has come into your life and they've done their time, have done their tenure, done their season, sis, don't hold on too long. If God says it's time to let them go, let them go. When we think about separation, you may find yourself leaving from one area, from one state to the next. You may find yourself leaving from the community you grew up in, and you may be wondering like, hey, I'm in this new community, I'm in this new phase of my life, and the old persons that were there in my life, they're no longer there. This is a clear sign that God is cutting off and pruning you to prepare you for more, prepare you for better. We must understand that some persons cannot go the long run. Some persons cannot go the long run with us, and so God has to disassociate us. He has to separate us. He has to pull us apart, and He has to prune those areas of our life that no longer bear fruit. Yes, some friendships, they're not bad friends, they're not bad people, but God, in order to reach where God wants you to reach and where He's taking you, He has to let some of those people go. He has to prune you. He has to cut off those things that no longer bear fruit. Those friendships, those relationships that don't bear fruit, He has to cut them off. He has to nip them in the bud, and you may feel as if, oh my God, like I'm losing friendship. I feel like as if there's nobody here for me. But it's a part of God's pruning process. It hurts, sis. It hurts. I've been there, but trust me, God has to do that in order to let you grow and to also elevate you. Now let's jump into sign number 2. Now sign number 2 on my list is isolation. Now, coming off sign number 1, where separation or disassociation. When we think about isolation, I've been in a season of isolation where I felt as if I felt so alone. I felt like I had nobody, I had no friends, I felt like I had no one to talk to. No, I don't want any of my friends who are watching this right now to feel as if I didn't have you or you're not a good friend. You are. But when you are going through that season of isolation, God isolates you and he separates you in order to grow you, in order to fill you up spiritually. And you may be feeling like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I have nobody, I feel like I don't have anybody I can talk to, I feel like I'm all alone. But let's not even get that thought in our mind to think that we are alone. Isolation does not equate to being alone, and the enemy may use this time of isolation to trick you and to deceive you, to make you think or make you feel as if you are alone when you're not alone. You're never alone. But God has to use the season of isolation to grow you. He has to use the season of isolation to even get closer to you. He has to use the season of isolation to dig deep, to allow you to dig deep, to allow you to get rid of the distractions, to allow you to be in a state where it's just you and him. It's just you and him. So you may feel as if you're alone, but you're not alone. You're just isolated, and you're isolated for a purpose. Now, there's a difference between when God isolates you or when the enemy tries to isolate you, because the enemy can try to isolate you in the fact of making you think that, okay, then I don't want to go to anybody with my problems, or I don't want to go to anybody to talk to anybody. We must fellowship. We must have fellowship. We must have godly influences in our life and persons that we can go to in events of whatever crisis, or if there's something you want to talk about, we must have persons in our lives in which we can go to. Now, the enemy may use that isolation to make you isolate yourself from going out to people, from going out and seeking help and assistance. Now, the isolation that I'm talking about specifically is when you feel as if you are just in this alone with you and God. It's just you and God. It's just you being at the feet of Jesus. It's those weeks, those months where you're just by yourself with God. Yes, there's persons around. You may be in a house full of people, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, mommy, daddy, everybody. But you are in this season where God isolates you. He pulls you apart and he sets you apart for a particular purpose. Now, everybody's purpose is different, so you would have to know in that season and seek God's wisdom and seek his will to know what his purpose for your life is. So when he isolates you, don't think that you're being cut off from the world. It's at a time when God is literally stirring up those things in you, stirring up purpose in you, stirring up godly desires in you. So those isolated times with just you and God, embrace that season. Embrace that season of God using that season. It may feel as if you don't have anybody, but you have God. And when you're in that season, you will know that God is isolating you for a purpose, because he's setting you apart. He's setting you apart to do his good works. Now let's dive into numeral 3. That's number 3. That's sign 3 on my list here. Is there's a shift of priorities. So your priorities are going to be shift. You're going to go through a season where the things that were appealing, the things that were pleasing to you, the things that you found pleasurable, those things, God is literally going to allow your heart to be moved. There's going to be a heart posture, change in heart posture, a shift in your priorities, a shift in how you go about doing things, a shift in how you even speak, a shift in how you even dress, a shift in how you even look and present yourself. There's going to be a shift of priorities. Now you're going to yearn for the things of God. You're gonna yearn, and this is why I say that pruning is so necessary. God has to prune us to prepare us for better. So God has to prune you, and God has to let your heart have a heart posture where your heart shifts from the world and from the things of this world to the things of God, to the kingdom of God. You're gonna go through a season where partying, and I'm speaking for myself specifically because this is something that I personally went through. Partying and drinking, excessive drinking, those things are gonna be cut away. They're gonna be cut away. There's gonna be a shift in your priorities. You're gonna not even thinking about dating. You're not thinking about going out and meeting people. You're not even thinking about these things. Your focus is gonna be so much on God. You're gonna have a heart posture situated and shifted towards the things of God. Your heart is gonna be shifted towards the things of God. I do really hope that this video encourages you. If you are going through a season of pruning right now, I encourage you, leave a comment down there in the comment section. I love how you guys are just commenting and giving all the wonderful comments, and I'm praying for you God, I'm praying for you all. So leave a comment down there if you feel like as if any of these signs resonated with you, whether you may be a shift in your priorities, the things that used to excite you, they no longer excite you. This is a sign that God is pruning you. If he feels that if he's separating you, he's moving you from one tone to the next. He's moving away from the things that were usual. He's moving away from the things that you were so used to. He is pruning you. He is pruning you for better, to bear fruit, to bear good fruit. And don't think that your isolation means that you're alone. You're never alone. God is going to set you apart for his greater good and for his purpose for your life. I do hope this encouraged you. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one.